Hi there, welcome to Floating in Books. Today we are going to do a good old book haul because I got some books over the Christmas period. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Maaike, I live in the Netherlands, and I come on here once a week to chat about books and lifestyle related things. I've got quite a lot of bookish videos that I was able to do for you in January, so I'm very happy about that. And one of the ones I wanted to do was to do a book haul because I've gathered some books again. I actually got a gift voucher from my parents and was like, great, I'm gonna spend it on books. And then I also got some presents from friends because I sort of celebrated my birthday a little later this year, because by the time my birthday happened in early July, I had just finished renovating my house and I was like, I cannot deal with a lot of people like running around my house again. So I sort of did that for my friends in November. And then there are a couple of books that I've ordered but that aren't in yet. So that's what I want to start the video off with because I can just get those out of the way. So you should know that I did order myself 3 books through the book depository, and it's going to take a while for those to get here because I was looking for certain editions or certain books. I was like, oh, I might as well order it through them then. So the first book, and I just got the order notification saying that it was shipped already, and it's the paperback edition of Juniper and Thorn by Reid. This is a book that I saw everywhere in a lot of people's end of year favorites. It's apparently like a gothic-y kind of fantasy story. That's all I know about it, so this is one that I'm very much looking forward to, and I think it's actually adult fantasy as well, so I'm very interested in seeing what that book is all about. I've heard great things about it, so I thought I could try it. Book number 2 is another very hyped up book because it's R.F. Kuang's Babel. The minute this launched, it sounded right up my street. I think I'm gonna love this, but I held off of reading it because I still want to and have to read the Poppy War series. So that's by the same author, and I still would like to read that. But yeah, this just really sounds like something I'm going to enjoy. And on the book depository, they had the paperback edition in stock again. I'm not a huge hardback lover. I tend to prefer paperbacks over hardbacks. I just find them easier to hold. So, and the only place that I could find it was on the book depository. So it's got an order date of like 20 business days, so it's gonna take like a month for me to get here. Maybe by the time I post this video, I might have actually gotten it in, but I actually think that it's gonna take a while for it to actually come my way, so we'll see. I can read it at some point, but this was still on my wish list, and that was sort of the aim, to buy the books that were on my wish list. And then thirdly, the other book still making its way to me, but this had again an order date of about a week, I think. And that's the Crumbs and Doilies. Is it the cake book, cookbook, whatever? So Crumbs and Doilies, in case you don't know, is a cake and cupcake shop in London. They actually have a place in Soho in Kingly Court where you can buy some of their products and get coffee. But it's a company that was started by Cupcake Jemma, who I found through Jamie Oliver's channel more than a decade ago. And she has her own channel, Cupcake Jemma, and her team have now come out with this new cookbook, and I knew the minute they announced it that I was gonna buy this because they have some amazing recipes, and I just felt that I wanted to own that, and it's got some of their more popular bakes in there. And now that I've redone my kitchen, I definitely want to get myself like a stand-up mixer. That's like one of the aims for this year, to get myself a stand-up mixer so I can hopefully make some of these cakes, because I now just have a handheld one, and sometimes like to make meringue in a handheld mixer, that's just not gonna happen. So I hope to just add this to my collection and hopefully find some great cakes and cupcakes and recipes in that book, and also support the team because I do like it. And every time I go to London, I always go to the Crumbs and Doilies shop to buy a couple of their things because they always have lovely things in. Then, presents-wise, I got the next 2 books in the Richard Osman Thursday Murder Club series. So the first one is right here. You can't really tell. It's right here underneath the shelf. I read that at the start of 2022 and I quite enjoyed it. It wasn't like, wow, this is the best book ever, but it was very entertaining. This book series is about a group of elderly pensioners in a small town in like the southwest of England. They're pretty close to Brighton, I believe, because they mention Hove and Brighton a couple of times. So it's sort of like on the coast, and it's this little pensioner village where they live, and they decide to solve unsolved murder cases, and then all of a sudden one day an actual murder happens, and then they all get involved and they become friends along the way, and everybody has like a mystery or a past. And the second one I have already read, so I'm not sure if I already did a reading wrap up, but the next reading wrap up you're gonna get from me, I'm gonna be reviewing The Man Who Died Twice for you, and then they also gifted me the third one, The Bullet That Missed. So these two I am very happy that I got, because it's sort of like cozy mystery. That's sort of how I would categorize it. It's really funny. It's very English, but it's also very endearing at the same time. So I do really like this. More books I've already read. This one, The Ink Black Hearts. So I already reviewed this for you in my most recent wrap up. This is Robert Galbraith's J.K. Rowling series, of course. I've read all the books in the series, which is why I wanted to continue it on. I borrowed it from a friend, but I was like, I have this gift voucher. I still want to own this at some point. I want to complete the entire book series, of course, so I did decide to buy it in the end. And then next up are some books that I was still very much looking forward to. So The Atlas Paradox is the second series in Olivia Blake's The Atlas 6 duology, and I read the first one at the end of 2022, and I liked it enough to be curious to know what the second book is about. The writing style in the first book was a bit simplistic for me. The plot was too easy for me, very easy to like predict what might happen. So to me, the story wasn't all that, but I liked the atmosphere. I didn't love all of the characters. I didn't like that it switched perspectives all the time, but it was still good enough for me to give it like 3 to 4 stars. So I was like, might as well continue with the rest of the series, and they had this nice paperback at my local bookstore. Another book I've heard a lot of people talking about is Bunny by Mona Awad. And this is a book that I've heard quite a lot of people talking about on like TikTok and Book Talk. So it's apparently satire with horror. And the bunny in the name refers to like a clique of rich girls at a university. So it seems kind of dark academia as well. I was taken in with the cover as well. So yeah, I think this is one that I might like. So we'll see if that holds true. Then a fantasy series that I've seen people recommend, and this is actually one that I had sort of been eyeing up for a while because it looked really interesting. I don't know what this is about. It's The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne, and it just says on the back, brand new Norse-inspired world packed with myth, magic, and bloody vengeance. That's all I needed to know, especially because it's like centered around Norse mythology, like Norse mythology. I love that kind of setting, so I hope I love this. We'll see, but yeah, I just bought the first one just to see if I like it, because I'm not sure about it, but we'll see. It's probably going to take a while for me to get around to this. Then a book that I had spotted in London, but at the time I was like, do I really need this? I don't know. I actually didn't buy a single book when I was in London. And one of the reasons why is because I was like, I haven't really read that many books all year, and do I really need to buy it? Like, I'm not really in the book buying mood. But I spotted this. This is The Twyford Code by Janice Hallett, and she did do another book called The Appeal. And these are, again, like detective mystery kind of stories. But as a reader, you solve the case along with the story. Like, that's what I get from this. This is about a children's author who's disappeared. I don't know. Oh, she's written some sort of book that has like clues to what nobody knows exactly. And this guy is trying to find out what this book is all about. Can you crack the code? I was intrigued because I've seen this happen in children's books where they allow you to like decide your own path kind of books. That's definitely a trend in children's books at the moment. But this, it seems really interesting, and it's all like audio files. I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. So yeah, I'm not sure what to expect with this one. And this one appealed to me more than The Appeal. So the first one, because I had that one too. But this is the one that appealed to me the most. And finally, a book that I was telling you about already. This is the second book in the T.L. Hochhu's series, centered around Ropa. The first book in the series is called The Library of the Dead, and this is Our Lady of Mysterious Ailments, and this is centered around a teenage girl called Ropa, and she can speak to ghosts, and she knows some Zimbabwean like magic kind of skills. The first book is quite dark and quite unexpectedly so, because this kind of felt like YA at first, set in this dystopian Edinburgh where ghosts are a real problem, etc., etc. And she's introduced to this like secret society kind of thing, and I think we're getting more from that secret society in this book. At least that's what I'm expecting. And this is just the second book in the series. It came out in 2022, and it only was there as a hardback at first, and I was like, I'm gonna wait until I can find the paperback, and it is now out. And this is just great. I love this series so much. I can't wait to read the second one. I hope it's as good as the first one. So there we have it. Those were some books that I picked up towards the end of the year with some gift vouchers and gifts that I got from friends. So I'm really super excited to get to these. I'm currently in the midst of a Brandon Sanderson book, so it's going to take me a while to read that, I'm sure. But yeah, I do really like reading again. I'm very much hoping that 2023 is going to be a great reading year for me again. I'm definitely picking up the pace, and I hope these new bits can definitely help with that as well. So thank you so very much for joining me. Let me know in a comment down below if there are any books that you personally picked up recently. I would love to know. And then for now, I would like to thank you so very much for joining me. Thumbs up the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel. I make one video on here every single week. So all I can say right now is see you guys next week. Bye bye.